And there's different things that you have to go through to be on a first responder team for the state of Oklahoma.
Okay.
And I was doing all those things, and it took several months, almost years,
Okay.
to be on Federal Response Team 1. I finally completed all the requirements for that.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things of, oh, you just have to fill out the paperwork. It's just the kind of the last step. And on that paperwork, it said, do you have diabetes? And I, of course, checked, yes, I have diabetes. It's been a part of my life my entire life. And that was an automatic denial.
Wow.
And I thought my life was over.
Yeah.
I thought my mission in life, what God put me on this earth for, was done.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to come back from that. There's so many times where doors do close and you're like, why God? Why this? Why now? Yeah. And I would say to them, sometimes it's so hard to say, why God? And to put your full trust in him. And you have to know, and you have to believe in your heart and your gut and your soul that God has the most amazing plan for your life.
Welcome back to the Faith Ignite podcast, and we're so excited you decided to spend a couple minutes of your day with us and being able to hear stories that your faith can be ignited. And hey, before we jump into today's episode, I'm going to ask you to do a few things. If this podcast has helped you, shaped you, encouraged you, motivated you, uplifted you, ignited your faith, I would ask that you hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, turn the notification bell on so you are aware when new episodes are released. And then secondly, hey, if you want to become a financial partner of this ministry, you can follow the link below. It'll take you to our website and you can become a financial partner there to help us take these stories of faith around the world to the people that need them. And then lastly, hey, if something's going on in your life, we would love to know about it. You can reach out to us by email, social media, or send us a letter if that's your thing. But just let us know what's going on so we can celebrate with you and just be able to stand in agreement and celebrate what God's doing in your life. And so now that we have that out of the way, we have a very, very important guest in our midst, a community leader. Our guest today, she is a leader specifically within the nonprofit space, passionate about serving those in her community. She serves currently as the executive director of Broken Arrow Neighbors, and since under her leadership in 2020, their services has grown from let me get it right. Their services has grown from 12,000 to 81,000 in the span of 4 years as of 2024. And so obviously the work that she's doing at Broken Arrow Neighbors is making an impact in the community. And when I say services, I'm talking about food, their food pantry, their financial assistance, their Jumpstart program, and we'll go into all of this, but that covers all of that to see how much that has grown. She's a native of Oklahoma, Tulsa to be specific, and she stayed within the area, went to do her undergrad and her graduate studies at Oklahoma State. And so she's continuing to be a beacon of hope for this community. And so without further ado, please help me welcome our guest, Mrs. Megan Quickle.
Thank you so much for having me here tonight. I'm just truly honored. You say all of that, and I'm like, yeah, that's totally not me. No, I'm just this girl that just wants to help people. So.
Yeah. And so for those that don't know, who do I have the pleasure of sitting with?
Oh my goodness. Well, you talked about the things that is, yeah, of course, in my bio, but what I would say about myself, I am a passionate individual that cares so much about caring about our community. And I know I was put on this earth to serve people and to serve others and to serve those without a voice. And I think you saw it in my office. In every office I've been in, I have my life quote, but it's Proverbs 31, 8 through 9. And it's speak for those that do not have a voice, help the poor and the needy. And that has really just been literally what has guided my life through all the different career changes I've had and things like that. But other than who is Megan, I am a wife of 20 years, and I am a pet mom of the most amazing animals you've ever met in your entire life. But that's really me. And I'm a daughter, and I'm a granddaughter, and I'm a child of God. And Amen. That is really, I'm here on this earth to help others.
So growing up, I've heard that a lot, like here to, I'm here to serve, all that stuff, like the generic stuff, but you put your thing, you put it into action. So what was the thing that ignited this extreme level of service in you? Because it doesn't come natural, but what's the thing that, how did this all come about?
So, and you talked about who is Megan, and that kind of struck a chord with me, but also it has given me a different type of purpose in my life. I live with type 1 diabetes, and it's not what defines me, but it is absolutely something that makes me who I am.
Yeah.
And so from a very young age, I was diagnosed a month before my 3rd birthday with type 1 diabetes. And for those that know what that means, I take insulin shots every day. I now live with, an insulin pump. But as a 2-year-old, I was taking multiple shots a day, pricking my finger multiple times a day, or my family was as a 2-year-old. But it has given me such a compassion in my life and such an empathy for others. And out of that, I've had the opportunity to travel to Washington, D.C. many times to advocate for others with, those living with diabetes. And so I really think that has given me the opportunity to, one, care about others, to think of others, before myself, because again, speaking for others that don't have a voice. And I've had amazing opportunities to advocate for those that live with a disability. And so I think that's just kind of where that stemmed from a very young age. But it doesn't define me. And so that's one of those things where I was like, you asked who Megan was, and I'm like, diabetes doesn't define me.
That's good.
Yeah. But
that is a blessing. To see like how, like, even though you, like you said, that doesn't define you, you allow that not to, because I've seen people where they put limits on themselves because of things, but you don't allow that to be like, you don't include that in who Megan is.
Yeah.
And you allow your mission and your purpose to override the current circumstances, situations that you currently face.
Absolutely.
That is a blessing to see.
It is. And, I'm sure we'll dive a little bit more into it, but at one point in my life, and even after college, where I thought God was leading me and where I thought my life was going, diabetes was that thing that did deter me from going where I thought my life was supposed to be. But I actually know it was exactly where I'm, supposed to be now, and how I've led this journey the last 5 years, even at Broken Arrow Neighbors. But even beyond Broken Arrow Neighbors, even beyond that, I know what I went, to college for, what I went to grad school for, has led me to where I am now.
So talk to me about, so obviously, at what point did you know that this is something that God has called you to in this type of work, in this line of work?
This line of work. So that's kind of a loaded question, and
okay,
I love that though. And I shared it earlier this year, and it was the first time I'd actually ever shared it out loud. And it even when I was sharing it, you could see like this light bulb come on, because it was like, oh, that's how it was supposed to be. But so I went to grad school for emergency management, and that was what had laid on my heart. I am, definitely an elder millennial. I am that person that 9/11 changed my life. I was a sophomore in high school when that happened, and it made such an impact on me of like, okay, those first responders were there. And I wanted to be that person. I wanted to be that boots on the ground helping people after disasters. And so that's how I kind of landed in emergency management, and didn't know that was even a role you could go to college for. I just thought that was police and firefighters. But there's actually emergency managers, and there's the ones behind the scenes, making sure that all the things are happening with the police and firefighters. So there was a different role within first responders that I wanted to be a part of. And out of grad school, I did all of the things that I thought I was doing, and I went to work for the Tulsa Health Department in their emergency management department, and we were kind of the first round of just different things happening in the United States. And there's different things that you have to go through to be on a first responder team for the state of Oklahoma. And I was doing all those things, and it took several months, almost years, to be on Federal Response Team 1. And I was doing all those, and I thought I was doing the right thing while working full-time, all the things out of grad school. And I finally completed all the requirements for that. And it was one of those things of, oh, you just have to fill out the paperwork. It's just kind of the last step. You've done all the things you need to do. You've gone on this mission. You've done this certification. You've done all this. And it was basically just the paperwork of the finality of it. It was like, okay, just sign off, and then you're good. And on that paperwork, it said, do you have diabetes? No one had ever asked me that before. I had never let diabetes define me. I had never let, it had never been an issue. I had gone on all these responses. I had been in Joplin. I had been in Moore. I had done all these, tornado responses. Diabetes never hindered me from going and helping. And I, of course, checked, yes, I have diabetes. It's been a part of my life, my entire life. And that was an automatic denial.
Wow.
And I thought my life was over. Yeah. I thought my mission in life, what God put me on this earth for, was done. Yeah. And I didn't know how to come back from that. And that was really that pivot in my life and that moment in my life where I was like, okay, God, now what? Yeah. And so out of that, transformed like how I served. Out of that, I actually went and became the safety director at Hillcrest Hospital, which again, so I pivoted. It was like, okay, how do I use this, my master's degree, and how do I serve others? And out of serving at Hillcrest during that, that was when Ebola hit the United States. Oh, yeah. I'm thinking that's 2011, 2012. Yeah. And, it was like, okay, Lord, I'm here to serve. And I will never forget that. It was 44 days that I didn't go home. I stayed in the hospital, and we were making sure that everything was prepared for Ebola coming to Oklahoma. Thankfully, it never did. But, as a safety manager at a hospital, we were prepared for that. And I also remember I was 27 years old at that point. Wow. And I was like, I hadn't seen my husband in 44 days. I was sleeping on the couch in my office at the hospital, and I was like, there's got to be something else. Yeah. There's got to be a different way to serve. Yeah. I want to serve. There is a way to serve, but it just didn't feel, again, I had that unsettling in my soul. And that was really, up until that point, I had also served on nonprofit boards and volunteered. Mm-hmm. And like I talked about growing up, advocated, on behalf of those with diabetes. But it was like, maybe I should work in nonprofits. Maybe that's where this is calling me. And so I literally left emergency management. I left safety, where that was a very solid career. It provided a lot of stability in my life. Yeah. And working in nonprofits might not provide that same stability and accessibility sometimes. But it was really where I was being called. Yeah. And so, I think back, is about a decade ago now is when I pivoted my life to serving in nonprofits. Yeah. And that has led me to where I am today. So
that was a load of questions.
I told you it was a lot.
So I got a question for you.
Yeah.
So in the midst of this period where you were going to do all the training and stuff to get onto the emergency team, for them to have that door shut, mm-hmm. for that person that may not be necessarily in emergency, seeking that mm-hmm. particular route. And then obviously God had a different plan, and he rerouted you in a way that didn't make sense to you in that moment. What would you tell that person that now is struggling with trying to figure out why isn't this working? I thought this is what I was supposed to do.
I so respect that question, and I so love that you asked that question, because there's so many times where doors do close and you're like, mm-hmm. why God? Why this? Why now? Yeah. And I would say to them, sometimes it's so hard to say why God and to put your full trust in him. And you have to know, and you have to believe in your heart and your gut and your soul that God has the most amazing plan for your life. And you just have to sometimes the expression, let go, let God. Yeah, but truly that is it, because in that moment and for a couple years after that, it was like, I have such big hopes, and I want to do so much for him, and I want to do so much for others. Yeah. And why won't you let me? Like, why won't you let me, God? And I wouldn't be where I am today without that. So
now we're kind of pivoting to the point where now we're at Broken Arrow Neighbors. So for
Yeah.
people that don't know what Broken Arrow Neighbors, give us a snapshot of what it is that your organization does.
Absolutely. So we are a basic needs organization. So our
Okay.
heart and soul is making sure people are fed. But out of that, we also make sure emergency financial assistance. So people staying in their homes. So paying, helping them pay rent, rental assistance, or utility assistance. So making
Okay.
sure their lights stay on, their gas stays on, things like that. But out of that, that I saw a need when I came on board in 2020 that we were seeing generational clients come to Broken Arrow Neighbors. And Broken Arrow Neighbors was founded in 1983, so we're in our 42nd year. But why are we seeing the kids and the grandkids of people that started seeing us in the 80s? And so out of that, basic needs, we are there to help you in a trying time, but we don't want to see you for 40 years and your grandkids and your kiddos. So that is where the Jumpstart program kind of came to mind and has flourished in the last 4 years. But it is also a program that we are taking our clients, and I say we walk with them hand in hand, of that next step in life, whether that be finding their first job or finding the job that makes them more money, where they don't depend on our services, or sometimes helping single mamas who's never had to have a job before, stepping into the workforce for the very first time. So it is a job mentorship program. It is financial literacy, but it is also walking hand in hand with people in that next step of life.
Yeah. And so, like you talked about, like being able to have, or just being able to work in the nonprofit sector, there is that, how would you say, there's no securities per se. So how does your faith guide and drive everything that you do concerning the fact that you're doing something for the kingdom, you're doing God's work, but then yet again there isn't that sure security? Like, how does your faith play a role in all of that?
Daily, minute by minute, hour by hour. Because we depend on grants, and we depend on donations, and we are so grateful for your donations. So thank you for that. But that you have to know that the work you're doing means something. And I trust and know that in my, again, heart of hearts, that we are feeding people. And I fully believe that food and making sure that you have a roof over your head is a God-given right in this amazing country we live in. And so I am passionate to make sure that we do what we do. And no matter if I was at Broken Arrow Neighbors or anywhere else, it is my faith literally every day that it's going to be okay. Truly. So
like for the people that, so walk me through the process where you have someone that's coming in to Broken Arrow Neighbors, and like you have an opportunity to put your faith on display. You have an opportunity to help this person serve them. So what does that look like in your space, in your industry? What does that look like to be a modern day disciple to people that come where they are at the most trying time of their life?
So that's really our mission at Broken Arrow Neighbors, which is our mission statement is assistance with dignity, serve with compassion, and empower the future. And I really take that dignity and compassion. Everybody walking through our doors deserves the dignity of being treated like anybody else. Just because you are needing help or asking for help doesn't make you less than anybody else. We all could be in that time or be in that situation at some time in our life. And I think that's the biggest thing I've learned even in the last 5 years is, and actually last Christmas was a perfect example. The year before, one of our sponsors of our Christmas program was a sponsor. The next year, she was a client. It can literally change that fast. And I think a lot of people don't realize how many people in our community, in this world, even right here in Tulsa, in Broken Arrow, are that close, living paycheck to paycheck. And one thing happening in their lives, sets them off kilter or whatever, and they're gonna need help for the very first time. And that's also why I'm so passionate about people making a living wage. And we talked a little bit about that when you were there, but it's making sure that people that are working and people that are working 2 and 3 jobs makes enough for their family. And so, from an advocacy standpoint, what I'm doing now and being able to go to Oklahoma City and Washington, D.C., making sure that people have food, have a roof over their head, have health care, something happening in your life, whether that be a hospitalization or you're diagnosed with something in your life should not bankrupt you and make sure that, you can't provide for your kiddos. But that's a whole different subject. But no, I really believe faith is one thing, but treating people with dignity and compassion, at Broken Arrow Neighbors, we all could be there at one point.
Yeah. That the mission of what you guys do reminds me of the one verse where it says, where Jesus says, do unto others as you have them do unto you. Like,
the golden rule.
Do to your neighbors. I've learned it the old school way. Do unto your neighbors that you would have your neighbor do to you. Mm-hmm. And to see like how you guys are putting that into practice. Like you guys are being the hand, the feet, the extension. Like you would, the poor will be there. You will have those people that need things, but you guys are practically helping. And while you're doing it, you're showing the love of God. Because it's hard for someone to believe that God loves them when people walk past them every day and see them struggling, see them can't meet their basic needs, and you have the resources to do so, but you wouldn't. And so for you guys to do the practical thing, it makes receiving Christ a lot easier, because they're like, wow, I didn't know how I was going to eat today, but somehow God led me to a place that can feed me.
Absolutely. And I we talk about all the different ways to help Broken Arrow Neighbors, and there's a beautiful list of all the ways to help us. Yeah. But I always end with prayers.
Yes.
And I say that's the most important, because no matter, if you can hold a food drive for us, you can donate monetarily, you can, donate whatever, be a part of what we do, come volunteer with us. But I always say, and I always actually end even interviews for new team members at Broken Arrow Neighbors, I say, are you okay helping people on the hardest day of their lives? Because sometimes asking for help is the hardest thing. And it's always the first step as well. So, just taking a step into an agency like Broken Arrow Neighbors or any type of basic needs agency and asking for help, sometimes that's so hard for someone to do. And you think about moms and dads having to put their pride away and saying, I need to step out of my comfort zone and ask for help. Sometimes that is the most beautiful thing that can happen, but that's sometimes when people have to walk in out of fear, it manifests in different ways. And so I always say, just cover some prayers. You never know how an interaction may go, but we are there with no judgment. We are there to make sure, again, with that dignity, but also the compassion of Christ, and making sure that people feel welcomed, and whatever is going on in their life, there's no judgment. Yeah. We're just there to feed them.
So looking back now, and I guess we can kind of wrap up on this on this question, but looking back to see young Megan and to see like what things that you know now, if there were one piece of advice that you would give, what would you give your younger self or someone that's listening on the other end of this podcast?
Always trust your heart. I lead with my heart. I always say, my heart is on my sleeve. Everybody knows that. But lead with your heart. Trust your heart. Trust God that if He lays something on your heart, do it. Yeah. And don't back down from it. And what I do now is more emergency management than I even could have thought about in grad school. And even though I may not be on the front lines of a disaster, I am there every single day helping with when people feel like their lives are crumbling. I'm there on the front lines to help them. So trust your heart. And if, like I said, if God lays something on your heart, go at it full force. Yeah.
It's a blessing to see like the work that you guys do. It's imperative and it's important for the community, because like you said, there's people that would be sponsors one year and then the next year they're clients and needing assistance, needing help. Yeah. But it's a blessing to see that you guys are living the example of what the golden rule looks like. And as a ministry, Ro, can you give me that envelope right there? Or Aislinn, can you give me that envelope? Yeah. And so as a ministry, we wanted to be a part of what it is that you guys are doing, because it is by extension like we are being the hands and feet of Jesus Christ and being able to help in such a way. And so this here is a check for Broken Arrow Neighbors.
Thank you so
You are absolutely welcome. That is a check for you guys to be able to continue the work that you guys are doing, because of the fact that we know this may be the only way that someone may hear about Christ.
Yeah.
They may come somewhere where they know, hey, they feel loved, they feel valued, and they're receptive to it. And we know that the things that Broken Arrow Neighbors have done, it's tried and tested. It's been around for years, and to see that you guys are continuing, the needs are there, obviously, and to be able to help you guys in that way, it's a blessing. And so on behalf of myself and the partners of Faith Ignite, we want to give that to you.
Thank you so much. I cannot tell you how much this means to us as we go into our busiest joy season right now. You talk about, not only are we feeding people and making sure they stay in their homes, but this season of joy, we make sure that kiddos have a beautiful Christmas. And so in the next 3 weeks, we're gonna do our very best to meet all the needs of the kiddos in our community. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. And then for those that listen and they feel moved and the Lord put it on their heart to help Broken Arrow Neighbors, how can they do so?
Yeah, so you can find us on our social media at BA Neighbors on Facebook and Instagram. But our website is www.baneighbors.org. And so we're easy to find. And so there's many ways to get in touch with us, but we would love to have anybody come and partner with us, come volunteer with us, or even join. So our monetary donation program is called the HOA. It's helping our area. It's the HOA you want to join. We always say we won't send you nasty letters. We send you happy letters through Broken Arrow Neighbors. So we would love to have you join our monthly HOA. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Megan Quickle, ladies and gentlemen. Megan, thank you so much for taking some time to just share what God is doing in your life and to see the work that you guys are doing at Broken Arrow Neighbors. It's a blessing to see, like I said, you guys are being the hand and feet and the extension of Christ through tangible means. And so thank you so much for sharing a little bit about your story.
Thank you so much for having me here tonight. I know there was a long way to get here, but I appreciate the opportunity to share the indirect route that God took me to get here.
Yeah.
So.
Amen.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have to sign off for today. But if this podcast has helped you, shaped you, encouraged you, motivated you, ignited your faith, hey, I would ask that you do a few things. Like, share, subscribe. That way it helps us to take these stories and be able to share with people all around. And then secondly, if you want to become a financial partner of this ministry, you can follow the link below. It'll take you to our website and you can be able to partner with us there. And you can help us do exactly what we're doing, being able to help other organizations and take these stories around the world. And then lastly, if God's put something on your heart or if he's doing something in your life, we would love to know about it. You can go ahead and write us an email, send us or connect with us on social media, through all of them. Just let us know what's going on. We would love to celebrate with you. And so until next time, we're going to sign off. But this has been Faith Ignite. God bless you guys.